Hello and welcome to this meeting. I would like to welcome you all to this meeting about peer coaching and what we can do to build capacity to drive school change, teacher to teacher. With us today is Les Foltos from Seattle, the founder of the peer coaching concept and the CEO of Peer Ed. We also have Helena Djukanovic, teacher and peer coach in Mörbylånga. And without picture, we have Sune Karlsson, the ICT manager of Mörbylånga, and Daniel Johansson, the peer coach, one of the peer coach facilitators in Sweden. And being the moderator of this talk is Mick Helgren, another peer coach facilitator of Sweden. And I would like us to welcome Les Foltos and just let's introduce himself. So Les, please tell us who you are and why you are here today.
Sure, it's good to be with everybody today. I'm Les Foltos, as you've heard 3 times now. I started my career in teaching, specifically history. Lost touch with reality and decided to be the instructional technology director for Seattle schools in 1990. That's a group of 100 schools, 50,000 students, 3,000 teachers. Spent a lot of time working with teachers to integrate technology into what they were doing in their classrooms, and that leads me to peer coaching, because those teachers consistently demonstrated that they really weren't using much of the technology that we installed. And so I asked them, tell me, who would you look to for help in integrating technology? And they continually said, you know, I'd look to a trusted colleague, somebody that I know and respect, somebody who's just down the hall when I need him. And I knew a lot of those teachers, and they were wonderful teachers, but they didn't necessarily have all the skills they needed to be effective at helping their peers. And so we created in 2001 the peer coaching training program, and peer coaching was designed to give those teacher leaders the kinds of communication and collaboration skills, the kind of lesson design skills, and a deep understanding of how technology enriches instruction. So we created a program that basically was designed to help teacher leaders be successful at coaching their peers to improve teaching and learning.
Okay, and with us today we also have Helena, the teacher and the peer coach. Would you please try to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello, I'm Helena Djukanovic. I teach a group of 11-year-olds actually right now in a 5th grade in Sweden in a small school on Öland, which is a small island on the coast of Sweden. I'm among those lucky few people who absolutely love my job, but hate the way that school enables or doesn't enable teachers to be able to do their job as good as they could, which is one of the reasons why I really like the whole concept of peer coaching, because I would like to restructure a lot of the thinking that teachers do, both to help them, us, to be more efficient and to let the job become happy and playful again, as a contrast to what teaching has become in Sweden the latest couple of years. This is only my opinion, of course, but that's the way I feel. It's a lot of talk about the flipped classroom now, and I have a feeling that we need to flip teachers' minds a little bit to be able to sort of make the whole change. And through peer coaching, I think we have a good way of reaching and connecting with our colleagues in a really good way. So I was also, my kids, or the kids in my class, was given 1 computer each from Mörbylånga commune where we live, and through that I was able to go to the education that Mick and Daniel from Learn It 24 held for us, and I was really inspired, and it was really nice both to learn more about the computers and the technology, but also about peer coaching. So I'm really happy to be here and to be able to ask you questions and to listen to, you know, what else you have to say.
Daniel, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Daniel Johansson. Daniel Johansson på svenska. I'm a former teacher. Actually, I'm back in school, just doing some visiting time, meeting up with my own former students for a few weeks now. But I'm an ICT consultant. Been working a lot with Learning 24 regarding peer coaching. I've started out with ICT just by the same reasons that Helena just talked about, just trying to get the education more efficient, but also, you know, trying to find new ways to communicate with the kids. And yeah, I just love it. I won't go back. I couldn't imagine working with in any other way. So that's me.
That's
Yep.
you.
Yeah.
Sune, without picture, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
I think we lost him.
Okay, if you get back to us sooner, you can just join in whenever you feel like. But we're here today to talk about what we can do to promote peer coaching in our schools, and how we can help our school leaders and how we can help our teachers and the facilitators, such as Daniel and I, to spread the word here in Sweden. And we've met a few challenges, and you, Helena, you've been finished peer coach for some time now, but have you been able to start coaching?
No, you just asked me this question a little while ago, and I'm sorry to say I haven't been. Finally, I've been spreading out these little bits and pieces to get my colleagues to sort of catch on, and I've been careful to not put out stuff that I knew would make them hesitant or feel that, oh, I can't handle this. So I've been dealing out bits and pieces to get their interests, and but right now it's actually another colleague of mine who's also got computers for each and every one of her students that's been I've been offering to help her, and she's accepted. So we actually have a meeting planned to get started on some serious coaching business.
Les, what would you recommend as a coach?
Well,
how can she go on?
Yeah, I think that where Helena is where so many coaches are at the beginning. They're trying to figure out who they're going to coach. Mm-hmm. And the real answer is that you start with a willing. And it sounds like you're really at that point now where after a while you've identified a teacher that has a need for collaboration, understands the value of collaboration. And our experiences are that that's absolutely an essential starting point, to find somebody that's willing to collaborate, who wants to collaborate. And what we've seen is that you begin to get a ripple effect. The teacher that you're working with begins to talk to colleagues about what they're doing and the successes that they're having. And I think that kind of approach, that ripple effect that comes from working with somebody that wants to collaborate with you, is going to bring other teachers to the point where they start to think, perhaps this could be beneficial for my classroom. Perhaps I can actually find some value in working with a coach. And we've seen in classrooms all over the schools, all over the world, that these teachers who hear about coaching, word of mouth for somebody that's working with a coach, will frequently show up at the coach's door and say, how can I become one of the chosen ones? How can I get the opportunity to work with you? So you're right where lots and lots of other coaches have been before you, which is you're finding that great starting point, that great working relationship, and you're really going to build success on that first relationship and then go from there. I think the other thing that I'd say, and I say this all the time to coaches that are just beginning, is one of the things that you need to be really careful of is making sure that what you're asking the other colleague to do is manageable. Coaches will say all the time, well, I ask my peer to take small steps. And sometimes they even use the word baby steps. And what that is a recognition that teachers may sometimes be completely overwhelmed and overworked. Sometimes they're just absolutely reluctant to try new things because they're fearful that they might make mistakes in front of their students. And so what you have to do is find out where they need help most, help them take a series of small steps, because those initial successes towards working toward your vision of a technology-rich learning, those initial small successes, those small steps that work, are going to encourage them to take more steps.
That's really interesting. Would you agree that being a peer coach is a lot about psychology?
Yeah. I mean, there are communication skills that are involved, there are collaboration skills that are involved, and there's certainly a little bit of psychology as well. You know, some of it is this whole business of understanding when they're ready to succeed and move forward, what they're ready to move forward on. Some of it is just understanding that they're willing to move forward at all. So sure, psychology is an important part of coaching. Not that you need to get an advanced degree in psychology to be a success as a coach, though. You just have to be observant and listen a lot to what your peers are telling you and act on the basis of what they're saying. So successful coaches tell me all the time we're successful because we personalize coaching, that we're really letting our partners, our learning partners' needs drive what we're doing in the coaching relationship.
Yeah.
Thank you, Helena, for your questions about psychology. It's kind of tricky. It's really hard for us to make this work easy and smoothly with everyone. Daniel, you and I, we've been traveling over Sweden now for some time and trying to spread the word to school leaders and teachers. What have you understood or learned during that process?
Actually, more or less the same thing that Les just mentioned, that if you want to make a change at your school or in the district that you work, that actually you need to not try to change a whole group from start, but to find the person that is willing to learn with you and who's interested and who needs it, just to start in the small business at first. Yeah, that's my grand advice to anyone starting up. Actually, also I've noticed that the climate changes in schools where you have peer coaching. It opens up the school. It enables teachers. It gives them sort of a forum to speak to one another and exchange knowledge in a way that we're not used to do. We're pretty used to be in our classroom and just sorting out our own business. And I just love the climate of sharing stuff with each other. Yeah.
I think that's a really important point. You know, we like to think that teachers are highly collaborative, that they work together all the time, but the reality of it is they work largely in isolation. In fact, there was an author a few years ago that wrote that in America, teaching is the second most private act. So you have to ask yourself, what can you do to encourage that culture of collaboration? What can you do to encourage collaboration? And coaching, I think, has worked out well there. Coaches have modeled some collaboration for their peers, starting maybe just with one other teacher or two other teachers. But other teachers on the staff have picked it up. And in fact, peer coaching is common all across the state of Washington, which is where Seattle is. And a couple of years ago, they asked the principals, the school leaders in schools that had coaching, what's one other side benefit of coaching? That was the way the question was raised. It wasn't multiple choice. It was like fill in the blank. 83% of them said, we're seeing more collaboration going on in our schools now because coaches are modeling collaboration and what effective collaboration looks like for their peers, and their peers are beginning to act on that. Now again, here's a case where the coaches are starting small. In most of the schools across Washington State, the people that were responsible for the training of coaches said, just start with one teacher, find one willing teacher and build from there. And even starting small like that, they begin to step by step build this model collaboration, and they're beginning to build a culture of collaboration.